Welcome back to Switch2Linux. Well, we are going to do a different desktop today and to experiment with a lot of different approaches and things. And so we are using Bodhi Linux here, which comes with the Moshka Desktop, which is a continuation and a fork of Enlightenment. And this is more of a Windows manager and less of a desktop environment. And that kind of shows, like, I got the desktop icons working on here. I kind of understand why they're not set by default. You really can't right click or anything to create a new icon here. You can't control them. You can't select multiple of them at a time. So not the best user experience. And I don't know, I toyed with the idea of just kicking them off the desktop altogether. So let's talk about the general setup. It probably took me about 2 or so hours to get things working. There were a couple little bugs here and there that we were fighting with, and we're going to finish some of our configuration here. First thing actually I'm going to do is I'm just going to open a window so I hide that. That keeps on jumping up there in the corner. That's actually the video file that's recording, and it just keeps on jumping. It's a little annoying, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so I did install a few applications. Simple screen recorder. I actually went through and installed my entire suite of applications, which I did Firefox, I did Chromium. However, this time I'm not setting up Chromium. I'm not using it for what I usually use it for. I'm moving to Waterfox, which I brought with me from the other computer. I set up Kodi, Thunderbird, Evolution. Let's just go ahead and have a quick look at all the applications. So out of the box, there is an app version you can get which has a lot of things installed. I went with effectively the minimal that had just basic system utilities. I installed the LibreOffice suite, GIMP, Chromium, Firefox, and Chromium was just installed as a backup. I did install Skype and Thunderbird. I'm going to talk about Skype in a minute. I installed Kodi, Simple Screen Recorder, VLC, Evolution, and the full LibreOffice suite. And of course, Waterfox came from my other platform. So that is how everything was set up. Now, of course, on this platform, we have a variety of different things. So it is definitely a lot different than a usual Windows thing. If you are a new user, this is not one you're going to want to experiment with right away. I did have to fight with a few things to get some things working. First, when we right-click, you have your favorites menu. So what I'm doing with this, and what I'm going to do is we're going to set up a separate panel. I'm actually going to do things a little bit differently than I usually do in my setup here. And so we're going to go ahead and make some adjustments. But you can see your favorites applications. So if I right-click, I get my favorites applications. This is actually an amazing thing because these are applications that I do use, but I don't use them enough to keep them on quick. Like the icons that are going to be down here are the ones that I just jump in and I use nearly every day. These ones I don't necessarily use every day, but I use them enough to not have to hunt through the menus. Then everything else, I'll hunt through the menus. So that is my right click. My left click gives me effectively the exact same thing as if I click on this menu here. So we can actually get rid of that if we want. So here we have, this is again the favorites. We have our full application menu here. Our places, we have a quick launcher, which looks like this. So it's just a place we can come in here and just kind of quickly launch things up. So that's what we have there. And then we have taking a screenshot. We have about the operating system. So there's some interesting things. We can reset the Moshka Desktop, a few other things. We have our main settings panel. We have modes like, I think presentation mode will I think that'll prevent it from going to sleep, I think, if I remember correctly. We have gadgets, which are all of the things on my panels. We have modules, which allow different system setups. Shelves are what they call panels. So what we have at the bottom, you'd call a panel on most systems, is called a shelf here. We can adjust our themes, Moshka, green, arc, default themes. This was the default theme setup. Then we have our wallpaper switcher. And then, of course, we have our settings down here where we can lock and do all of our basic powery stuff. So first, let's actually walk through some of the modules. And so Inside of your modules, this is where you're going to do things like by default, things like your desktop icons are disabled. This is where you're going to want to turn this on. I'll probably keep it on for me because I just need to use stuff on my desktop for simplicity's sake. Everything else here, I think I pretty much kept the way it was. I tried working with the tiling. It was just too annoying. I got rid of it. So other things, actually pager, I can probably get rid of that because I actually don't use multiple desktops. GNOME is the only place I've found multiple desktops to actually be useful. So I'm going to kick that one off. So let's go ahead and do some adjustments here. The first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that my panel here has everything we need. Now this is called an iBar, and we can create a new icon here, or I can actually just drag things from the menus. So the things that I would like to add to the menu, and I'm not sure I can drag it from that menu. Let's go ahead and grab a benign one first, I guess. I don't want it to open an email application on me. But something I might do like Skype. So if I grab Skype, I can drop it down here. You'll see I can order things around. I can drop it. Things like the system updater, I don't really want that in the system, so I come over here to this and hit remove. And I'm going to leave that one there for now. I'm going to get rid of this one simply because I put it on my favorites here. And I'm going to remove Midori because I found it to be horrible. So now that I know I can do that, we're going to go back into applications. We're going to go into our Thunderbird. We're going to put Thunderbird over here. And we also want to do under Office, I want Evolution down here. So now I have Firefox, WaterFox. I have the App Center, which I'm going to get rid of, but I want to talk about it first. We have Evolution, we have Thunderbird, and we have Skype. So those are generally the things that I have down there. For my less used but still frequently used programs, my Writer, GIMP, my File Manager, and my Terminal are right there. And then everything else I can just hunt through the menus, clicking anywhere on the platform. So let's talk real briefly about this App Center. This is so stupid. It is actually a website. You come over here to the website, and it actually doesn't even have a lot of software on it. Now, this is based on Ubuntu, so you have a ton of software available, but this is the only place you have to install things. And so here, email clients, what does it give us? Can I click email? So it gives us Thunderbird and Clausmail as those. You'll see, I mean, this is just a website loaded in a system. This is kind of goofy to me. PC Man FM, we have Nautilus, we have Double Commander. So icon sets, of course, there's a variety of icon sets. We're not going to mess with those right now. System tools, you can see there's not a lot of things inside this center. I don't know if Synaptic is in here or not. Do a search, and so it looks like we do have the ability to install Synaptic. I didn't actually attempt to install anything. So basically this is sending a command to the system to install it through a website. I think that, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I think that this is susceptible to a man-in-the-middle attack. I don't think this is a good way to install software on Linux. Now, of course, we have a terminal, and this is based on Ubuntu, and so literally everything that we want to install, that's exactly what I did. I just came in here, sudo apt install my list of programs, and I went ahead and installed everything through the terminal instead. We're now installing Synaptic through this. Again, I don't like the idea that I'm clicking through and doing things through a basic web page. This is too susceptible to a man-in-the-middle attack. So apparently Synaptic is now installed, so I can hunt down through here, and that should be probably System Tools, maybe. I did find some of the applications I needed to log out and log back in before my menus would update. This one is this application seems good. So of course, we're just going to go ahead and remove that now. I have no need for that. So now I have Firefox, WaterFox, Evolution, Thunderbird, and Skype. Those are the basic oh, I'm sorry. There's one more application I use on a regular basis I would like on there, and that would be Kodi. It's like, I think there's missing something. All right, so there you go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is Skype. So Skype was an interesting one, and this gave me another issue, and that issue being one of Midori kind of sucks. I forgot I can't search for something. All right, so Midori is the only web browser you have by default, and I wanted to install Skype. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and first say, hey, this is based on Ubuntu. Let's try and do things the way that the world's wanting to push us to, because that's what this computer is all about. It's about experimenting and learning different things and testing things out, so I don't stay stuck in my way with an old Windows 95 looking beast. I want to experiment. I want to see how things work in different ways. So with that being said, I was like, all right, let's go ahead and see if Snap is installed, and it's not. So I installed Snap, and then I installed Skype through Snap. Well, guess what? Skype through Snap doesn't work. Just go figure. I booted the thing up. I signed in. Microsoft's like, oh, hey, we need to make sure we can get a hold of you. You're going to use Skype for like 7 days before you give us this access code. Blah, 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 because that's what Microsoft's doing these days, and I hate Skype. But unfortunately, that's where my business clients and other communication things are at, so unfortunately I have to stick with it for now. But it's still stuck there and just spinning and 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 simply wouldn't start because Snap packages actually suck. So I got rid of the Snap packages, and then it left me an amazing little 2 Skype items in my menu. And so I went through and I purged Skype and Snap. Didn't work. So eventually, actually that one needed a full reboot. Logging out, logging back in didn't actually fix the menu. In that case, a full reboot finally purged that Skype menu out, and now I'm down to only those single Skype, which I had to download from the website. So this is neat. If I go to get Skype over here on Midori, first, it seems to detect my Linux wrong, so I come over here, and let's go ahead and save this bad boy onto the desktop. So what was happening is it was basically telling me that this is not an actual deb file. Now, it may or may not work this time, because what I did find out is that for whatever reason, nothing copied to the desktop correctly. Now, I did try and download this directly into the gbet deb package installer. I did attempt to download it to a couple other places. I never got this guy to work. So when I download this off of Midori, you'll see that it tells me it is not a Debian package. Well, it sure looks like a Debian package to me, but that didn't seem to work. Dude, did you just delete? Oh my lord! It's the persistent, never dying Skype for Linux. So that actually kind of sucked. That I was like, what in the world is going on? So Midori apparently sucks. So I'm like, well, let's just go ahead and give this a try with the good old faithful Firefox. And so when I boot up Firefox, if Firefox actually decides to boot, there we are. Firefox is booting now. So now if I go in and I do my search for Skype, and I hit my Get Skype application, it properly detects that we are in deb, and if I come over here, just to give you the same exact experience, we're going to save the file. Now, I will note, by the way, that the other goofy things, I'll get to that in a second. Let's show downloads. Okay, where did it download to? I guess it downloaded to the download folders. Just an FYI is that the download folders actually didn't exist. You'll see here that in my home folder here, you'll see that the only thing I have is downloads now because Firefox just created it, and documents and Firefox. Literally none of the home icons are here. That apparently is a bug with the installer, doesn't run it. There's a command you can run to get all of your user folders there. I just don't care. I don't really use them much anyway. But now that we have actually downloaded it, let's go ahead and double click on this one, and guess what, guys? It's gonna work. Because apparently Midori sucks and can't download a file correctly. But this one, it actually reads that, hey, you've just downloaded Skype for Linux. Do you want to install this? Oh, it's already installed. Would you like to reinstall? So yeah, Firefox worked. Oh, I don't want to close that. Firefox works. Midori doesn't work. Desktop icons aren't there. The original, the user folders weren't there. Midori kind of sucks. It won't download things correctly. all sorts of weird little issues, even when I manually select the deb package. Now that I've downloaded the deb package and installed Skype, it boots up no problem whatsoever. So that's an okay thing. I got that one resolved for whatever reason. But now we are stuck with a system here that, let's see, this is all set up now. I actually don't think I need the menu. So let's go ahead and talk about the how to adjust your settings here. So when you right-click down here on your what's called a shelf, most systems will call this a panel, we can pull up this contents. So let's go ahead and have a look. Okay, I don't need a battery icon. Let's go ahead and remove it. So you see that removed. Clipboard, that's fine. Clock is cool. Settings, nah. Everything starter, nah. What I have is good. iBar's good. Places, no. Mixer, yes. That's my sound mixer down there. Start. I'm actually going to remove the start menu. That's a little odd, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the start menu. I'm going to see how the system works. This is kind of your power on, power off. We're going to go ahead and remove that. I don't think I need that one either. And let's see. What I don't have that I see is I don't have a, I don't think I have a way that I can show my desktop. That kind of makes me sad. I like showing my desktop. All right, so now we have done this. Let's go ahead and begin moving gadgets around because I do want to keep that over there. I want to keep all this stuff here. So simple screen, of course, this is basic stuff over here. I don't really care. This is going to drive me crazy that I don't have my ability to click down there and get my desktop viewed, but that's okay. So generally, stop moving gadgets is going to be able to do that. Let's go ahead and look at gadgets again. So gadgets, this is where we can do desktop gadgets. The background basically will put things on my desktop. So if I were to do maybe a clock, add a gadget, it'll throw a clock somewhere. There it is. So it throws a clock on your desktop, so you can kind of move that around wherever you want. I'm going to remove that. I don't really want anything else on the desktop, but you can add gadgets to your desktop like that. There's some background options. Those are desktop gadgets. Okay, so here is your shelf settings. So we can do above everything is what I preferred. So basically, it's pretty much above everything. I can move stuff below it, but I got to push a little extra harder. My position, I can put it, anywhere I want it. I can adjust my size anywhere I want it. So the shrink to width is going to do something like this. If you are wanting more of a panel-y type thing, I like this layout. Of course, I can adjust my height to whatever I want my height to be. That is crazy big. Let's make it a little smaller, in fact. Yeah, that's a little too small. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, so one of the things about it is we get these little panels here, and I can't adjust this anyway, but we have a lot of little settings up here. This is actually not a very user-friendly system, but you can do alternate, default, dark, invisible. We can do translucency. Let's see what that looks like. Well, apparently it's not super translucent. That's pretty sweet. I like that. That's cool. Systray cannot set its background invisible to match shelf. Okay, whatever. It looks just fine to me. It is actually disappearing my network icon, but whatever. I don't care. I like that look. We can auto hide it. I don't bother with auto hiding. We can show it on specific desktops or on whatever desktop we want to use. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. One of the challenges with this is I can't actually get to editing that panel. So if you do that, and how do you need to edit your panel, you should be able to go to your Should be able to go into your system here and find your panels over here somewhere as well. Shelves, I'm going to try and call it shelves. There's Windows, here's menus, advanced. There's our shelves. All right, so here we can do our settings. Now if you want to come back to change your style again, you can change your style from right over here. All right. I think that's pretty cool. I'm just going to leave it the way kind of it is. But we can actually add another one. So if you wanted to take just your icons and put them at the top, on the side, something like that. So you can actually do that. So if you add another shelf, let's just call this a side shelf, just for the purpose of showing things. Let's just go ahead and add a gadget to that. And then our side shelf, do our settings. Maybe you want to do something that does auto hide, show it on mouse in, show it on click, hide or timeout, and hide duration. So if we do all this, now we have a system where we have a panel that shows up over here that apparently is, oh, there's my icons. Like, where's my icons? So you have a panel that kind of looks like this on the side. So you have these options as well. So we're going to see if I can actually adjust this panel. Looks like I'm going to have to go. Close that. Go back into settings. And shelves, side shelf, delete you, delete, and close. All right. So that's how we get that one adjusted. So this is kind of how everything's working. Of course, we have Synaptic now, so I installed that so we can easily install new packages. So this is kind of what we get. So I'm just going to run it like this for a while and see how this works. So I'm going to basically train myself to use a menu system like this. Now, what I might actually try, in fact, this might be something to try. I'm going to try something here. I'm actually going to do something different. I'm going to run this just in the interest of running new things. We are going to add a second shelf. I'm going to call it top. And we are going to put just an iBar on it. And we are going to do our settings, put it on the very top, apply. Make our size. I said 20 was too small. Like that. Okay, close, close. I'm going to minimize this for now. So now I can actually access these. I don't like those toolbars up there. Let's see if I can adjust that. Settings, show icon label. I only need to apply. There we are. I don't need the icon labels. I pretty much know what those are. So now I should be able to poop, 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 poop. And then now with that, we're going to go into our shelf settings. I'm going to go onto the bottom shelf, contents. We're going to remove this gadget. Okay, so now it's not giving me the space over there, so we're going to have to go back and refix this panel. So let's go ahead, and this is actually a little annoying with the panels, with the translucent panels. I really like the look of it. We're going to keep the look of it. It's just I think I need to do an adjustment over here. So we're going to do our settings, going to do our style. Just do this for now so I can begin moving gadgets. And make sure this one's forced all the way this way. This one's all the way this way. Stop moving gadgets. Go back to invisible. Say OK through that mess. There we are. So now we kind of have a desktop that if I want to load these applications up, I can just go ahead and boom, load them up like this. But now the only things that'll show up are going to be down here, and then I have a little clock over here, and everything else is basically translucent. So this is kind of what we are going to run with for a little while. Let's see how this runs. So I wonder if I can change the non-active colors to something else. That would be a neat thing to do. Let's look at content settings. I don't want to auto hide the bottom one. I like the top panel, the bottom panel staying exactly where it is, but let's go ahead and there you go. I can do the shelf right here. It looks like I do not need to go into the settings to do the shelf. Yeah, not sure how I will change the non-active windows at the bottom, but that's probably okay. I think we're okay with what we have here. All right, so now we have a nice kind of a different layout, a different setup. So here's my most used applications. If I'm doing this approach though, man, I don't know. I might just go ahead and drop all the applications I might need up here. I might throw more stuff up here. I think that's kind of a neat setup. As far as icons, I don't really care because I don't really see any. So this is kind of a completely different desktop. And then I don't know, should I get rid of the desktop icons as well? Should I give it a try? Be brave, be courageous. What do I need? I don't need that one. I need modules for that. So come into modules, files, unload desktop icons. So now we have a completely bare desktop except for the things that are running on it with my main applications up here. Anything running down here, which is exactly what I want. I have my main system clock, audio volumes, network stuff down here. Except I don't know why my calendar is disappearing. All right, is not disappearing rather. There should be an icon down here for networky stuff. I think it's the task manager is the error thing that was giving me that couldn't set itself translucent. That's okay. I don't really need that anyway. So, but anyway, this is kind of the setup. We're going to run with this for a while and see how it works. I might have to make some adjustments. I might have to put the panel back down. I might have to put the icons. I don't know. But we're going to run this and see how this works. How do I get to my desktop? Right there. I mean, that's not bad. Still, I prefer things on the desktop, but I'm going to go ahead and run with this anyway. So this is my thoughts. Early thoughts. A little bit of a pain to get set up, but once it is set up, I don't know. I think it might be a pretty good thing. So let me know what you guys think, and we will be back another time. Thank you for making it to the end of this Switch to Linux video. You can have a look at another video right on over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel or to Think Life Media, which is my own personal support page. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.